The Tudor Pelagos 39 was one of the most popular releases of 2022. Naturally, AliExpress brands wanted to jump in on this hype, which is good news for people like me, because I can't really afford the real thing. We've had 3 Pelagos 39 homages released in the last few months. These came from brands like Octopus Kraken, Seaston, and San Martin. Out of that lineup, this Octopus Kraken was probably the model that went under the radar. But I have a strong feeling that this is the best one out of the bunch. You can get this watch for around $260 on AliExpress. There's a huge summer sale going on until June 18, so this is a great time to grab one if you're interested. I've left a link in my description and some coupon codes to knock the price down closer to $220. Which is an incredible deal for what you're getting. The dimensions on this watch are right in that Goldilocks zone for most wrist sizes. The compact dimensions, slim case, and lightweight made it wear like an absolute dream. It took me some time to get used to the lightweight titanium, so keep that in mind if you're used to stainless steel watches. The case is made from grade 2 titanium. If you've not owned a titanium watch, it's a darker material that picks up scratches easier than stainless steel. There's been mixed reports about whether this has a protective coating, so I can't really tell you for sure. The shade of titanium here also doesn't look as dark as the titanium on my Burnie. It's much closer to the stainless steel I have on my Zin 556i. The case is excellently finished for a titanium watch. The transitions are clean and defined without feeling sharp. The case is entirely brush and the brush grains are very finely done. The side of the case has that typical Tudor slab-sided profile. It's quite thin because of the movement they use, and the subtle curves on the lugs help it wrap around your wrist. The crown feels quite gritty to screw in and out. The difference here is night and day compared to the crown action on my Proxima. I heard that this is quite normal for titanium crowns, so take that as you will. The knurling is incredibly grippy, and it's signed with a nicely engraved Octopus Kraken logo. The crystal is a flat sapphire with a clear AR coating. It looks good and it provides a clear view of the dial, but I feel like it could have used a couple more layers of AR. The crystal has a bit of this milky hue when you view it under diffuse lighting. The bezel has 120 unidirectional clicks. The ceramic inset has that same outward radial brushing that you'll find on the original watch. I love the toolish vibe it gives off. I much prefer this over shiny ceramic insets. The sunburst effect here is quite subdued. It just looks like a matte bezel most of the time, until the light hits it just right and you see that cool brush sunburst effect pop out. The dive time markings are printed in a white Lume application and they look very clean. The coinage on the bezel has a ton of grip. You'll have no problem rotating the bezel even if you have wet hands. The bezel action here was probably the biggest surprise for me. I've read that titanium bezels are usually worse than stainless steel, so my expectations going into this was quite low. But wow, was the action excellent. It's not too light or heavy, it just feels right. The clicks are solid and consistent, and the bezel action sounds so good. This is honestly better than the bezel action on most of my stainless steel watches. There's just a bit of backplay, but it's not that noticeable. The lume pip also lines up spot on at the 12 o'clock position. The dial is a gorgeous deep black with a subtle sunburst that adds some visual interest. The sunburst effect here is tastefully done. It's subtle enough that you don't actually notice it unless you're under direct sunlight. Now, let's address the octopus in the room, and that's the branding. I know a lot of people dislike the branding, and trust me, I was in that same camp. But after having this in hand, I honestly feel that it really works on this watch. The logo and font balances the whole dial, and it fades into the background once you start wearing it. I also like the red text they used at the bottom. It gives the dial a subtle pop of color. The indices are made entirely from Lume. They're frameless, so they don't have plastic borders like the indices on my Suggest GMT. It's incredible how they've managed to do this at this price point. The indices are quite raised and three-dimensional, but I feel an extra millimeter of height would have really added to the depth of the dial. The iconic snowflake handset is painted in white with a black base on all of the hands. This makes the white part of the hands look like they're kind of floating on the dial. The hands are very proportionate. The minute hand reaches out to the minute markers, and the hour hand lines up with the cardinal indices. The finishing held up well under macro. I couldn't find any flaws or imperfections. I love the high contrast white on black look. It's so legible and it just looks like the purpose-built tool watch that it should be. The lume on this Octopus Kraken is absolutely outstanding. The blue BGW9 is applied evenly on the dial and bezel, and it glows all through the night. The caseback is sterile with a radial brush finish, and that's all I have to say about it. But I have much more to say about the movement. It's a PT5000 which, like the Sleeta SW200, is a clone of the popular Swiss ETA 2824. The higher bitrate gives the second hand a smoother sweep compared to something like an NH35. It averaged at -1 seconds per day over the course of 1 week. That's right, -1 seconds per day. That's as accurate as the top grade SW200 on my Zin 556i. And that's a watch that costs 5 times more than this. I'm not sure if Octopus Kraken is regulating their movements or if I just got super lucky with my unit. Either way, I'm impressed. The titanium bracelet tapers from 20mm at the lugs to 16mm at the clasp. It's a 3-link construction with screwed links, and it's one of the most comfortable bracelets I've tried on. The articulation between the links is excellent. I've never seen this much articulation on any bracelet I've had. I mean, can your bracelet do this? The milk clasp is brushed with polished bevels and the Octopus Kraken logo. It feels sturdily made, and the push-release mechanism works smoothly. It only has 3 adjustment positions though, so this could cause issues getting a perfect fit. I wish they had at least 4 positions, or better yet, a quick adjust clasp like I had on my Suggest. So to sum up, what do I think about this Octopus Kraken? This was a very strange experience for me. I wasn't excited when the Octopus Kraken was first released, I wasn't excited when I bought it, and I wasn't excited when it actually arrived. But everything changed once I actually wore it. As you could probably tell from this review, I absolutely love this watch. Everything is so refined, and the quality is up there with the best I've ever experienced on AliExpress. It just blew me away. The lightweight titanium construction just adds to this, and it makes it a perfect candidate for an everyday watch. If you're still deciding which Pelagos 39 Homage to get, well, this is my take. The C-Stem has some disappointing quality issues, and the San Martin is more of a shrunken down Pelagos 42 in stainless steel. But the Octopus Kraken? Well, this is the way.